doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, we're live. We're live. Okay, I was making sure y'all could see me. I'm here with Canadian Glenn, and you're listening to the People's Weekly. What's up, Glenn?
Buenos dias. Welcome to February
2nd. I'm not sure how I sound right now because of the new setup, so hopefully I'm not peaking, and hopefully I'm not too low like I was the last few weeks. So, this is the trial run show. If this works out, then I'll know what to do. Yeah, Biden's been in office 2 weeks, and there's still kids in cages. Police are still murdering black people and everybody else.
The United States is still
2,000 went to 1,400,
Yemen.
and nobody has that yet. Unemployment's cut off for millions of people. And the coronavirus is raging, and Newsom now wants to open up California because we can't let the economy die. You know, that's the most important thing. Oh, these people suck. Blue MAGA, ladies and gentlemen, blue MAGA.
Okay, I see that Celeb in the chat said that you were peaking a bit, so talk some more.
Thank you, Celeb. Let me tone it down.
That's weird because it sounds fine to me on this end.
Well, see, that's the thing. It speaker always looks like I'm peaking. The other gear says I'm just barely peaking, but I can't. It sounds fine when I listen back. How is that, Celeb?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Coming in, we are doing a test real quick.
Now, BTR used to be like that too. When you were live, when it was processing your signal, it would say, "Oh, fuck, you're high. Whoa, tone it down." And then when the archive would come out, it'd be like way low. So, yeah, I get it. Whatever. The thing is, too, with these platforms, even if every bit of input you're giving them is clipping, they're still going to knock it down. You know, I mean, I don't think you can go too loud when you're using Spreaker or BTR or anything like that because they've got the money to moderate all the signals, and they do, so fuck them.
Fuck them. I got a mute button too now, which is awesome. Like, I had a mute button, but you can't hear me when I mute now, Glenn. So, yeah. Thank you. Celeb says that's better, so let's get on with trashing Biden.
Well, you know, it's been 2 weeks, and the world's not fixed. So, you know, maybe we should support batshit Taylor Greene, and now we should impeach Biden.
Well, I mean, you don't have to support her to impeach Biden. But see, the thing is, we were just saying this before the show, Glenn. We were running more tests. People act like they know Biden. You know what I mean? Like we were saying, oh, Joe fixed this, Joe this, Uncle Joe, Joe. That's how they talk about him.
Yeah.
And what did I say? I said, yeah, we all should know Biden. He's been there long enough. But the point is, I don't know him for anything decent or good. I know him as a racist warmonger.
Well, that's the reality. But I mean, reality doesn't have much to do with conception in American politics. So, I mean, look what we saw for 4 years from Trump, nonstop, day in, day out. And yet there are still people out there that insist he's great. So, I mean, once you're dealing with the stupidity of humanity, I guess if your pitch is good enough, you can sell whatever you want and people will buy it. I mean, I agree. Biden has been in on some very historically underhanded and shady things in the United States in the last, well, definitely this century and even into the one previous for 15, 20 years. But yet, this is the thing. When you're up against the absolute bottom of the barrel, son of a bitch, piece of shit opposition, I guess just about anybody can look good.
Yeah, I mean, it's two different, there's a meme. I'm going to say two different brands of fascism. But there's a meme going around right now. And it says Trump, and it shows a picture of a gun aimed at you. And then it says Biden, it shows a picture of a gun with a silencer. They're kind of aimed to the side. I don't know. They're not like anyone holding them. It's just a gun. But Biden's the gun with the silencer, and Trump is the regular gun without the silencer. It's just funny because it's funny because it's true, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's a good metaphor, definitely. And I think this is something, especially once you go outside domestic, what the United States is capable of and what it means to the rest of the world. That's exactly how the rest of the world sees it. Nothing changes. They'll still shoot you. It's just that nobody else will hear. That's the difference.
Hey, to the rest of the world, Biden might be the blammer. Because Trump didn't go attacking all of them so quick. Biden's been involved with signing off on so many wars, man. So many wars.
Well, you can't blame him for Yemen because he wasn't in office to be able to sign off on it. But, everybody's making such a big shitaroo about promises kept. Well, like you said, $2,000, pardon? And he also said that he would end support for the war in Yemen. And it's been 2 weeks and he ain't done shit.
They're going to find some way to do something which isn't going to be enough and then demand praise for doing it. That's what I think is going to happen. And the sick thing is all these people will go ahead and sing the praises of Biden. Yeah.
Well, again, like I said, though, I mean, once you're post-Trump, just about anything, like literally anything, is an improvement. So, that's going to be a factor for a while. I mean, I think it's going to be really important to see how long Biden gets what they call this honeymoon period.
Yeah.
And for some bizarre reason, it will still have a lot to do with Trump for how long his honeymoon lasts. Because with the impeachment trial, and then who knows what's going to follow that, the longer that Trump is now an evil piece of shit in the media, that, directly affects how long Biden will be able to skate on whatever. because everybody will still be, yeah, but Trump.
We've said this before, too. We wouldn't even be here if they held all presidents accountable for their crimes.
Yeah.
Nixon shouldn't have been pardoned. And pretty much every president after him, with the exception of maybe Carter, should have been in prison. They should have all been impeached and locked up for something they did. They're all corrupt. Look at Reagan. So much stuff he should have been impeached and taken out for. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and now Biden was in the Obama administration. Biden's been in politics forever. They all talk about John Bolton never met a war he didn't like. Well, neither did Biden. The only difference is one's from your party and one's from another party.
Yep.
It's pretty stupid.
It just shows you how ridiculously uninformed on the chain of command and how shit works, where you can get away saying that to the American public because, okay, yeah, Bolton's fucking crazy. He loves war. He loves to see people from other places under the treads of the United States. But Bolton's not the one who signs bills sending people into conflict.
For real.
Bolton's not the one who has little meetings with people from the other party and they decide how these billions and billions of dollars are going to be spent to kill people on the other side of the world. He may lobby for it, he may believe in it, but John Bolton doesn't directly influence any war taking place. That's people like Biden. You know, and for him to be able to come out and make this a legitimate point in some circles is ridiculous. It's got nothing to do with how shit really works. It just sounds good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's nothing's going to change. Nothing ever changes. These people support one side or the other. It's ridiculous, man, because I agree with the Republicans, not the batshit crazy stuff. Like, I don't think Democrats eat babies and worship Satan or anything, but I agree with them on everything terrible they say about the Democrats, and I pretty much believe and agree with the Democrats on everything terrible they say about the Republicans. Why can't they both see how bad they are? You know what I mean? Their own party is as well. And everybody can say, oh, we need to fix this within ourselves, and they really need to work on their crap too. Or you could just abolish both parties. That's my solution. So have you heard about the Patriot Party? Did we talk about that last week at all?
Well, I mean, it's been out there. It's been brought up. But, I mean, you know, what's really happened? Not much. About the biggest thing I think related to that is now it's become pretty obvious. It's been talked about in print that all this stop the steal shit and that Trump was running after the election raising money. He put $75 million in his pocket so far.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, what did you think he was going to do? His whole thing is to profit off whatever he can, however he can. And you give him all the power, he's going to do whatever he can.
But, I mean, you know, this is another thing again. The rest of the world sees this a little different than Americans see it. I mean, that to a lot of the other parts of the world, that's exactly what the United States represents to them. Say this, dumb people send you money, you put it in your pocket. That meant to millions upon millions of people around the world, that's what the United States is. That's all it represents.
It pretty much is all it is.
A big scam for money. And then that money is used to destroy everything else.
Yep.
America. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I believe it was Kamala Harris that was screaming about everyone should be getting $2,000 a month.
Yep.
$2,000 a month. And Joe Biden is a racist. And now she's Joe Biden's vice president, and she's like, Joe, we did it. And $2,000 a month? Well, no. We meant $1,400 one time to make up for the $2,000. I was just messing with Trump and the Republicans back then because I knew it wouldn't happen. When it's on us, no, we're not saying that no more.
No.
They're such hypocrites. They're so full of crap.
The big machine. And see, that's the difference. When you're running for something, for that responsibility, apparently you can say whatever you want. But then once you actually attain that responsibility, oh no, everything changes. Everything has a different meaning. Well, it certainly has a different context.
Here's the thing. You're right, Glenn. And this is the problem with these Democrats right now. They're going off on that wackadoo. What's her name? Marjorie something.
Yeah,
the QAnon. They're going off on stuff she did before, everything she said before she was even elected into this. She was nobody back then. She's still nobody, but before she was an official, a politician or whatever. They're going back and playing all these wackadoo videos and saying she's insane, which is true. But why don't they do that for Harris too? Why don't they go back when she was talking about she's the top cop and she thinks mothers should get locked up, and it's all the brutal stuff she's done. And then Joe Biden is a racist, and then everyone should get $2,000. They never go back with their own people. You see what I'm saying? They need to be equal sided. If you're going to talk about the other group, talk about your group too. Because I don't see really a whole lot of difference between either one of y'all groups.
I think the dividing line that they're trying to keep people fooled about is, if you want to talk about taking advantage or keeping down entire classes of people, that's okay. But if you want to talk about taking down specific members of the elite or ruling class, no, we can't have that. That's the only real difference between the two women and the things you're talking about. One is talking about business as usual, fucking entire class of people. And the other one's talking about specifically having, intent, we'll call it, intent of harm to people who are already, they don't have to worry about where their next meal's coming from, or, it's all, yeah. It's all about what the perception is of, you can attack this, but you can't attack that. I think that's something that's got to change in the U.S. They're sacred cows right now, I guess by consensus or by force. What the media tells you can attack and what you can't attack, that's got to change. Because I don't think enough attention is paid to, if you can control that narrative, you can get away with damn near anything. And it's a big part of formulating your messaging to the public. I mean, that's something that I've always said. Politics is a product, and you're a consumer, and the market is fighting for your brand loyalty. So, as long as people blindly accept what you can attack and what you can't, that's a problem. You're never going I don't think you're ever going to have a real revolution of any kind until people accept that everything is open for taking a shot. And that definitely does not exist these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so one-sided. It's just, it's like Crips are cool because this, and this. Bloods are cool because of this, and this. And then they're going to be like, but, it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're gangbanging on a major scale. Where do you think the gangsters got it from? They didn't invent it. It's a sickness, man.
Well,
people are dying.
Yeah.
Millions of people are dying around the world because of these jackasses' decisions. Millions of people are suffering around the world because of these jackasses' decisions.
And again, I remember we were talking about what's the COVID situation going to look like by the time Biden finally does get his hands on the keys. And yeah, it's pretty grim, but at least everything about the appearance of the problem out of Washington has changed. So at least it didn't get worse, shall we say. We'll see how long it takes for some changes to happen. I mean, I think everybody saw that bullshit at Dodger Stadium on the weekend.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up eventually.
I don't understand. I really don't understand how just these clowns standing in the way of the lines and they close down the vaccinations for like an hour to get rid of these people? Like, what?
It was like 50 of them, Glenn. It was like 50 of them.
It's ridiculous. I mean,
if that many.
And I think back to stuff like the march in New York where they kettled like 1,000 people on the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, there should have been like 4 black school buses pull up. And the LAPD gets out and they kettle these stupid bastards and they take them all away.
But these are their people. So they're going to shut down everything. Now, do you heard what they're doing? They're trying to make sure they have a safe place to protest now over there. Because their voices got to be heard.
As long as they make it like they made the protest area and the media area for Ferguson and all that kind of thing. Yeah, as long as they go along the same rules, sure.
Yeah, it's not going to be anything like that.
Give them a 20-foot square spot of grass, 3 blocks from the front line. There's your safe area.
Let's imagine a group of black people or Latino people. Let's say 30 or 40 of them went over and shut down a vaccination site. Do you think they'd shut it down? You think they'd be like, oh yeah, let's let them get over there and shut it down for them? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think people have been arrested. I think the street would have been blocked off for the people. Anyone in the street would have been arrested. They would have said you can stand on the sidewalk here, and they would start messing with people on the sidewalk so they got too close to the center. These white Nazi scumbuckets are allowed to do whatever they want, and the police escort them and help them and enable them and join in with them in a lot of cases. Because they're all like, oh my God, they killed a cop. I'm like, yeah, cool, they killed a cop. A broken clock is right twice a day. But the thing about it is, there were cops in there.
Yeah.
There were cops in the groups that killed the cop. 3 feds died today, by the way. Three feds and a suspected pedophile. So, win-win.
Yeah.
Smokers in here. And celebs in here.
He's trying to make it sound like he knows Joe's nap schedule. I don't think so.
Smoker and Joe are really close. I know when Joe goes to Canada, he always he stays in Smoker's guest home.
Okay.
Yes, Tim does need a massage, Smoker. I'm gonna ship my neck to Canada. Okay, yeah, this is the fun going on in the chat. For the people that aren't in the chat, you can log on to Spreaker and, just click on the Spreaker button when you're listening to us and go in the chat when we're live, and you can see all the madness popping up in the side and join in. You might even meet the Pope one day. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
chat's deviating a bit at the moment. Yeah.
But yeah, they shut down the site for them. They opened up the gates of the Capitol building for them. And we've said it before. There's never been a time I can remember that police weren't assisting, accommodating, protecting, escorting Nazis. They'll stand against everybody else and attack whoever to protect the Nazis. So yeah, this is nothing new. This is just what they do.
And we've talked about this before too. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, it's quite easy and most likely absolutely correct that some of the frontline police that are part of this completely asymmetrical treatment of the two different sides of things. Is it logical to assume that some of the frontline police, if they were off duty, would be on the other side? Yes, that is a good assumption. But those are just idiots with a badge who do what they're told. So, there's not enough of them that they can just suddenly change the way police units act on what they call operations. They're instructed, they're trained, they have strategies that this is how they do it. So, it's valid to stand on the other side of a line from a cop and say, if we were Trumpers, you'd be escorting us through here, but we're not. That's valid. But the thing that has to change is their command structure that makes them like this, that lets them behave like this and encourages it and draws sides, flat out draws sides that the troops obey. I don't think enough attention gets paid to that. I mean, I can see why. Because then, yes, you have to abolish the police and come up with something better. And that's the last thing that anybody wants to talk about these days. What a surprise.
They're saying defund the police is too harsh. You need to come up with a better slogan that more people can get behind. Yeah, abolish the police. There's a better slogan more people can get behind. How about that one? Booyah.
Yeah, but the people who say that defund is too harsh will say that abolish is like way too harsh. That's the problem. They want you to go the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I see signs up on billboards by politicians and whatnot to say, defend police. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Why would I defend some murderers with guns? Gun-toting thugs.
Look at what's still going on every night in Portland outside the ICE detention. Defend police? Fuck off, man. Ridiculous. Yeah. That's like defend Jeff Bezos. Like, fuck off. You're nuts. You're nuts.
Hey, what's the the Proud Boys got all these quote unquote leaders. But one of them's the dark dude. I don't know what he is. He's a snitch.
Yep.
Big time snitch.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I was watching a Twitch show last week when all that came out about Enrico Tario being a high-level CI for a long time. And in the chat on that show, I said, okay, who's going to be first to have both Sabu and Enrique Tario on their show? Will it be Tim Pool or Joe Rogan?
Did one of them do it?
You got appreciation there. But, this is just it. I mean, it's the same old story, whether it's hacker cells, whether it's Occupy movement, it doesn't matter what it is. They do the same thing every time, and they always find somebody that they can pin to the wall and flip. It never fails, man. Never. So, I mean, for him to get arrested, 3 days before January 6th with the transporting illegal magazines? Yeah, it all makes sense now, don't it? It all makes sense now. And you have to think, if they decided they had to pull him then they must have figured that they were in for some trouble on the 6th. Right?
Yeah, that was a whole fiasco in itself, which once again, the pigs assisted, allowed to happen. And they're crying about.
Your mic dropped. Oh, wow. Okay, chat. Tell me what you can hear. Wow. What's happening?
You can't hear me?
Oh, I can now. Speak more.
What's happening?
Okay, I just heard that. That's it. Now talk some more.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Okay, I can hear you now. I don't know what happened. He just kind of broke up and then he dropped.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's probably the Skype part of this. Skype sucks in itself.
It certainly can, yes.
Plus, like I said before, we're still dealing with the latency issue I got to work out. It should be fixed by next time. I think you hear me a little later, but we've always had that issue.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the interface, too. I mean, we've talked about this before. The difference here is with Spreaker, there's only one connection for the entire show, and that's Tim to Spreaker. And then Tim's connection has to take all the other connections and inputs. So it's Tim's end where everything's being used up. Spreaker's just got a port open and says, yeah, send it on in. Easy.
Yeah, and I have the worst cable. Spectrum is horrifying. And I mean, honestly, we're lucky it's working right now. Let's be honest about it.
Don't give him any ideas.
What?
Don't give him any ideas. Don't talk shit about him while you're on.
Yeah, you've been on shows that they shut off. I mean, not on purpose. They just, because they suck. Their service sucks. They shut the whole neighborhood off. I don't know how many times.
Yeah. Oopsie.
It's not like a conspiracy. It's just crappy service and lazy infrastructure builders, I guess. I don't know.
So, I mean, LA is getting that bad reputation like New York City had in the first wave. But yet, Newsom wants to open more stuff up. Like, what? Is it just plain and simple? It's about we have to generate revenue? Is that all it's about?
It's all politics and revenue, man.
Yeah.
And those two are usually connected in a lot of ways. But yeah, like we talked about last week, I think his motivation was they have 500,000 supposed signatures. They need 1 million more to have a recall vote. And so he's trying to say, oh, I'll open up some stuff to, try to ease these Nazi cats down that are flipping out, the people that don't believe this is real and wanted him to open it up. And now that he's opening it up, he can't open it up too much. You have the other group of people. He's trying to walk a fine. He's a politician first.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's all about him and his position, the way he looks, and his future. The rest of the people here, we don't matter. We don't matter to these people. And especially once they're in office. They don't need somebody's vote. We really don't matter to them.
No.
That goes local to federal, all the way across the board. These politicians are crap.
Well, it works so good at the top. This is your trickle down for you. Corruption trickle down.
Yeah, I mean, all I have to hear now is how terrible it was for these people to have an angry mob go to their job. Imagine if this happened at your job. These are politicians. They're scum. They're going to have people mad at them. They put themselves in that position. They're the ones that don't do the bidding of the people. I mean, if you're a right-wing politician, then you should do the bidding of your people. And some of them do more of the bidding than the left-wing ones. At least try. I don't think we really have any left-wing politicians. We have politicians that claim to be socialists and claim to be left-leaning. They're all pretty much centrist or right-wing, even the Democrats.
Well, yeah, it's about the Overton window. So, I mean, that gets said a lot about where I live, the province I live in, which is the Texas of the North. And everybody has their legend, their iconic story about the guy who ran the show here back in the 1970s. And, that just kind of coincidentally goes along with the last great oil boom started after the OPEC thing. And, he had some what you would call old school conservative ideas politically. Because, there was once upon a time when if you were a conservative, you were about conserving. You were about always getting top dollar for your stuff and for getting good deals for the people. That was how it was a conservative point of view. And, that put where I live, the province of Alberta, on a pretty good path, a chance for a pretty good path. And as long as that specific dude was running the show, things were looking up. Then he retired. And then since that point, which was the mid-'80s, since he left, it's been a steady decline into we give everything away. We're dependent on industry for our entire economic situation. All these crackpots want to cut taxes and services as much as they possibly can. So, when the ass falls out of the price of oil, we're not ready. And that's the type of thing that's been going on here forever. And if you take a real look at where you were and where you are now, like the people who claim they are conservatives now, look at the guy who got us on the path to a decent future in the 1970s, who was a conservative then. In the books from today, that 1970s conservative has now been called a communist by some people in the Conservative Party today.
Yeah.
The same fucking name, but it's moved so far down the track that they can get away with saying that shit now. And, that's the problem in the States, too. Yeah, anybody who says they're a socialist in the United States, well, if you're in the government, you're not a socialist. Period.
Thank you.
Period. Not that government. It's impossible. It just simply is.
I mean, you get socialism because your job is paid for by the people and the tax dollars, and you can give federal raises and give yourselves raises and all kinds of stuff, and you have the best of the best health care on our dime, but that doesn't mean that anyone else gets socialism. It's just the rich and you guys.
Yeah.
The politicians. They said Biden raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour for federal workers.
And, well, I mean, he can't just say everywhere in the U.S. the wage is now $15 for everybody. I mean, he just can't. He can't do that.
He should say 25.
I mean, it's just like in Canada. They wanted to get to a $15 minimum wage across the country. But the only thing the federal government can do is legislate that for the industries under federal jurisdiction. That's it. They can't do anything at the provincial level, just like D.C. can't do anything about the state level. Like they can make post office jobs minimum $15. They can make TSA jobs, stuff like that, But as far as everyday commerce in the States, no, Washington can't do fuck all about it.
Did you hear about Long Beach? The LBC, they passed some ordinance that workers were getting $4 an hour extra during the pandemic. So I believe it was it Kroger Foods decided to close 2 stores because they'd have to charge too much. They had to charge too much money to pay their workers that much. As far as like when you buy a product, it would cost so much more, or they'd have to lay off workers or hire them for less hours each. Those were like the options they gave. Do you know it wasn't an option? Some bigwig CEO or corporate fool at Kroger taking a pay salary cut.
Yep.
That was never on the table. That's not an option. We'll screw the customers, we'll screw the workers, but we'll never ever screw the bigwigs.
Yep. And those are the exact same arguments that industry has used for 100 years. It's just like, well, you're going to be paying $20 for a Big Mac. Fuck off. It's ridiculous.
But the guy making a $120 million salary, that's not over the top. That's not outrageous.
No. But I mean, the thing is, you can't even make a case to present on that argument. It's just too stupid. It's just like the people that say a $20 Big Mac. Like, bullshit. Bullshit. The real issue is the workers in fast food have a certain rate of work. And that's the only way they keep their job. It doesn't matter how much they're making. So if fast food workers were paid $15 an hour, and considering the volume of like a McDonald's franchise or a Wendy's franchise or anywhere else, that employer is still making a ton of money off those people at $15 an hour. So just imagine how much they're making now, paying them half of that. And people are, pissed off about $15 an hour being the basement. It just
Big
makes
Glenn,
no
Glenn.
sense.
Those are just those kind of people. We're talking about billionaires. Do you know how much money it costs for a billionaire to survive, just to barely get by?
Yeah, security's expensive.
Of dollars. That's why they're billionaires. Many of them were born billionaires, so you can't say people aren't born billionaires because literally some people are.
They are now.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
let's look at it like this. Imagine if every worker at Amazon got paid right with benefits. How would Jeff Bezos survive, man?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You know, it's becoming so desensitized. Like when I was younger, you really didn't hear billion all that often still. You know, like if somebody was worth $400 or $500 million 30 years ago, that's a lot of fucking money. Now it's an afternoon with GameStop. You know, like things have just changed so much. And people just don't really flinch to the B word anymore. But you have to think about it. That's 1,000 million in $1 billion.
You know what's sicker than that is the T word's about to come up more and more.
Well, Amazon already has a market cap over $1 trillion, which is more than, I would say, probably, you know, at least half the countries in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can give a stimulus payment to half the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, I don't get it. It's just digits now. Like it really doesn't mean anything anymore. Nothing's connected to anything on that scale. You know, Elon and Jeff want to build their little fucking moon city. Go for it. Just go away.
I was thinking about that the other night, as a matter of fact. I was like, what if all the billionaires paid money and got on these moon planes and they all crashed and blew up and just didn't survive? It'd be a big step in the right direction. I mean, I feel sorry for the crews who just worked there, but it's a small price to pay to eliminate all the billionaires in a couple of trips, you know?
That's
billionaires all go to the moon? Are we
that's
done
an
with them?
interesting concept. That's an
They'll
interesting
try to
concept.
rule us from the moon. And
Well,
it's
then
harder
we
to
need-
attack the moon. We can't even get them here.
Then we need to build the wall in orbit.
Build a wall.
And make the moon people pay for it.
Hell yeah. Biden will do it.
Ivanka will do it.
Biden stands with the people. Biden loves humanity and peace. I know right now there's some Democrats being right on. Finally, he's seen the light. No, I was being sarcastic.
This delusion brought to you by the Biden-Harris election team.
Yeah.
I approve this message. Now I have to go nap.
Oh my God. I took a bunch of dabs the other day. I was so blasted. And that's when somebody wanted to ask me about a bunch of political stuff, like what is fascism exactly? And I was like, wow, I really can't do this right now. But I did start thinking we should probably do another fascism show. Don't we say this every 2 weeks?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I could just say, hey, listen to this. That'll explain it all.
So, I couldn't get away from it on my timeline. I find it rather interesting at this point of development because, I kind of staked out my position. I said that Newsmax was going to be what was going to replace Fox. But that's not quite working out with my prediction now, because every time news, it's like people recognize that Newsmax is the up and comer to be watched closely, but that has made them a legal lightning rod. And they've been hit with some pretty big legal threats. And the last one coming from Dominion voting machines. And they had
who else beside Dominion? I know the Dominion one, but who else?
They got a notice from, oh, God damn it, I can't remember. I think they had a notice from a campaign about slander. So I mean, even to threaten that in the States with the laws down there, it's like, wow, you must be serious to even bring it up. But they had on the creator of Mind Pillow, Mike Lindell, and he started ranting. Like, they asked him a question, and he said, "Thanks for having me on," and started to rant and answer a completely different question. And he started talking about Dominion voting machines, and they just basically just stepped all over him. They just talked right over him, and he kept going and going and going in the background, and they stepped on him until he would shut up, and then they'd ask him a question, and he'd go right back to it. They step on him again, then he shut up, and they told him flat out that, once upon a time, this network was trying to get on Dominion's, get some focus on them. We're not doing that anymore. We accept all the results of the election, et cetera, and, basically, if that's all you're going to talk about, we're done. And Lindell was almost Trump-like, or Rudy-like, the way he just kept going. Like, that guy is fucking nuts. I think he's back on crack now. Never mind.
Crack affects your brain. Some people don't recover from it. He's a whack job, man. He just replaced crack with religion, and then he took that to the extremes. And he might be on both of them. Who knows?
Well, actually, Saturday Night Live did a bit about Mr. Mind Pillow on the show on the weekend. And basically what they brought it down to is his pillow talks to him. And that's that's where the insanity comes from. All these are the pillow's ideas. So, yeah, I would say there's some crack after effect in that picture somewhere.
Smoker's saying Rudy's being sued for $1.3 billion. Yeah, I heard about that too. I don't think he's going to back down, though. I think he's a wacko, too.
Well, I mean, what does it even matter? I mean, to somebody like Giuliani, just being the spectacle of what that trial would mean, that's all that matters to him. He doesn't give a shit if he's got a dime. He's the star. That means more to him than any cash award he could get.
Yeah, because you might not know because you're from Canada, but he's a national hero.
Uh-huh.
Once upon a time, he saved America.
That was before dementia.
Yeah.
I mean, holy Christ. Yeah, I know that is one. There's tens of millions of Americans that think that. It's like, wow. And you were the guy in New York. Wow. What the fuck? Time goes on. Things change.
Yeah. Poor Rudy, man.
Oh,
He could have
yeah.
made something out of his life. He would have just stayed away from politics and law enforcement.
That's all his life has been.
Or legal, whatever it is. Yeah, that's what I said. If he'd have just stayed away from that stuff, he would have made something of himself.
Would he be driving a garbage truck in Jersey?
That'd be better where he is now.
Yeah. In
He's a
some
laughing
ways,
stock
yes, it
of the
would.
world.
Well, one of them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, would you want to be one of them even?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, man.
But you know, I think that's a pretty actually reasonable reaction. I mean, there have been a lot of people that when faced with, you know, complete impending doom, if there's a role to be played, if there's a way to take advantage of all the attention, a lot of people will pick that. It doesn't matter. Win or lose. Don't matter. Just give me the spotlight. It might have been 9/11 that it might have been 9/11 that Rudy first saw that. Who knows?
I was talking to somebody about the crazy stuff people would do just to be famous now with the internet. Like some people just want to be famous for whatever. I don't remember who I was talking to about that, but yeah. It's just a really weird thing. People would do insane, stupid stuff on camera. But it's not the same with Rudy. He was trying to be a legitimate public official, not like a YouTube anomaly or something.
Well, you can't say Rudy was afraid to go all in. Let's put it that way. You can't say he holds back.
Yeah.
He
I mean, he went all out with the Four Seasons total landscaping. I mean, you don't just go to the Four Seasons unless you're somebody.
Wow. Yeah, that is... You know, the thing is, there will be like 300 level poli-sci classes at Stanford that are going to be talking about shit like that in another few years. So, you know, it's hard to accept the gravity of the history you're living through because it sucks so hard when it happens the first time. Now, when people read about it in history books, they can only imagine how shitty everything was. Doesn't replace the live experience of it.
It's better than now. I mean, when you want to see history, you don't get to see, you know, people in the future will see a lot more than what we have. Yeah. We have people's words on it and writings of it and, you know.
Video.
Some video, depending on when we're starting this history.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, sheesh, everything's on film now. I mean, everything's online forever and ever. Hard drives, computer, man.
Cloud.
Yeah. Like future people will be able to see the history.
Well, I mean,
now I wonder if they'll do it like they do. They'll edit those and make them scarce and harder to find to push a narrative. So like they'll edit the videos and, you know, only release the certain things that show things from certain point of views. Because that's what they do with textbooks and history books now, right?
Yeah, but that's because they can control the points of input. With in the digital age and with the internet, they just simply can't. Not right now. There's just too much points of input. They just can't filter it.
Yeah.
But again, you know, we've talked about it before too. I mean, I can remember in another century where if you're going to do petty crime, if you're going to fuck around, if you're going to hypothetically vandalize police property or anything like that, he should probably do some recon and check for cameras and try and get an idea of, when there's a lot of people there, when there's not a lot of people. Like, the idea was not to create evidence of the crime you were going to commit. That whole concept seems to have completely disappeared for so-called lawbreakers. I just call them ignorant idiots, because if you're going to commit a federal crime, I don't think live streaming it is a good defense. I really don't understand how people can be so stupid in a time with so much technology that they're convicting themselves while they're doing it.
Here's the thing. Here's the funniest thing of all. You know me, I think masks are cool. I think people should wear rags all day, every day. You don't need that's freedom when you're not picked up on cameras for who you are. Your face isn't seen everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that. But then you got these people going, a mask is a muzzle. They're taking away our freedoms and we can't breathe and this and that with the mask. And oddly enough, these are the same people that went to the Capitol without masks on video.
Yeah.
Imagine if they actually believed in COVID, how many of them would have got away with it more because they'd have been covered up.
Yep.
Now they're all like, Trump told us to do it. I was only doing what my president said.
Well, I mean, on the one hand, I think it's almost ironic that for once the blame is being put back on the altar that it came from, which is rare. I mean, that's kind of a revolt in itself from the faithful, to get called to the town square and say, but he told us to. That doesn't happen every day. So, I think time will tell whether that's if that's going to help or if that's going to make things worse. But, I think this White House and their communications people are top-notch professionals, because being outside the U.S. to just look out the window at what's happening down there, and the amount of information gets more personal and more impactful as we move along after January 6th. And it's being presented by corporate media without bias, for the most part, which is an interesting concept for a change. But they don't think they have to bias it, because they're on a whole new angle of sell now. Now all of a sudden they want America to remember that they can be human for a while. And this is just, it's, people talk about how with Trump and the protests and the riots and the coup, and this is like what the CIA has done around the rest of the world for 70 years. But nobody's talking about it now. After the CIA does it, win or lose, they always try and get everybody to fucking calm down and trust the government again. That's exactly what's happening in the U.S. now. And, I get it. It's smart. It's what you should be doing. But it's just so routine. And nobody's asking any questions about it.
Because they want to calm down and trust their government again. These people are just, man, like I said before, Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's it.
For sure. I mean, that exact phrase is something that was actually used to describe Canadian federal politics by a national leader about a decade ago here. He actually came out and said that a lot of Canadian voters have Stockholm syndrome. So, yeah, I mean, it's a marketing position. You know, I mean, maybe people get tired of that, but I'm sorry. I mean, I just look at it for what I see this whole big fucking game. It's all one market, and politics is a product, and you will be incentivized, scared into whatever to consume a certain product. And, you know, some people can boycott. Some people have no favorite. Some people don't even use the product. So, you know, it's like anything else. But recognize it for what it is. It's not that these guys who wear these shirts want to change your life. No, sorry. That's a slogan. You know, like what's the one that we came up with a few months ago? Democrats, it could be worse.
Yeah, something like that.
You know? I mean, really. That's the reality of it. So, but hey, your consuming experience is yours.
Yeah, I'm done with it. I just wish everyone else would see it. I knew this was coming. I knew we predicted it. Like everyone's just going to be all cool. Not everyone. There's still people out there. It's just a lot less people. Because now the children in cages, it's our guy. You know?
Do you think that this new administration and the cooperation from corporate media suddenly shifting to the peril of COVID-19 is being used politically to deliberately draw attention? I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it. It does. But everybody is being, hey, no, look over here. Start paying attention to this. Do you think that's going on down there?
Not yet. COVID's still a big deal. I mean, I guess they could be using it, but I mean, the thing that Biden is doing is he's not doing anything right now. I mean, why isn't he on there screaming? Where's Harris? Why aren't they screaming for us? You know, when Trump was in there, they were really against everybody not getting money and everybody being suffering. But now that they're in there, it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's politics. It's such a stupid, that's what I'm saying. What do these supporters of these politicians think? Like, oh, they said all this good stuff. They're never going to do it. Time keeps clicking by. It'll be a year. It'll be 2 years. It'll be 3 years. And then what these people would do is what one or two things they do, they'll keep bringing that up. Like, well, they did this. Trump didn't even do it. We're not comparing them to Trump. We're saying they're a terrible person. Trump's a terrible person. They're terrible people. They're a different kind of terrible. And that's exactly what the other ones do. Well, this is, you know, AOC
what about
or this or that. Or it's always like, but this person does this, or but this person. How childish is that? Your person's corrupt. Worry about them. Ain't that in the Bible? Ain't that in their book? Remove the splinter from your own eye before you point out the splinter in your neighbor's eye or something. Oh no, these people suck. They're just team players, and whatever their team does is great. Their team can do no wrong. And their teams are both fascists, so it sucks. Sucks to be me.
Well, I think, well, I mean, we've talked about this before too. I mean, I personally hold the opinion that there's a lot of things that need to get dealt with. And they're, IO, on-off decisions. These aren't decisions on a path to anything. There's a lot of things that need to get dealt with before Easter. First, there's the impeachment of Trump. Then there's what to do with Cruz and Hawley in the Senate. And then the House is a whole nother shitstorm where there are over 100 Republican congresspeople who were in favor of what happened on the 6th. And there is precedent after the Civil War, coincidentally. There's that. There's the $2,000 checks. There's looking into other elections like McConnell, like Graham. They're all on the table at the same time. So I think the reason that we're hearing so little about certain things is because it's all in the same game. The filibuster, that too. I mean, there's just so much shit on the table because, as we've also said on this show, and I said I don't know how many times on my own show about Canada, the bottom line is both these parties in D.C. are the game. And they're going to protect the game before they start knocking each other off. So there's going to be a lot of shit going on. And, I mean, like I said before, McConnell is the consummate politician. He goes to the line with what he knows he can get away with because he can. He's a quintessential vulture politician. But then he's also smart enough to know that there comes a time where you're going to go too far with what you say, and then you're going to fuck yourself. And that's the position he's in now. So, I'm still stuck on this thing that the biggest friend that the old GOP has right now are the Democrats. The GOP has a real problem inside the party, inside the caucus. And it's the Democrats who can save the Republican Party as we know it and get all these other fucking lunatics to join a Patriot Party or call it whatever they want. Call it the fucking Whigs. I don't care. But I think that's a possibility of that happening in the U.S. in 2021. So that's why all these things are all being worked out as one big issue, because this is about the game. This is about the entire game that all these fuckers are part of. And they're always going to do everything they can to save that before they start shooting each other.
Yeah, well, I wish they'd get to the shooting each other.
Oh, that's another thing too. I mean, people in Canada, they say, holy fuck, they need detectors at the doors to enter the house. Like, if that's not mind-blowing enough, you have these clowns who insist they don't have to do it. Like, who do you think you are, man?
We all live in America.
Mm-hmm. Coca-Cola, sometimes war.
It's wunderbar.
Oh, yeah, it's wunderbar, all right. I just, that's another thing that Americans don't understand. People around the world and the other so-called liberal democracies, they see this, that elected members feel that they have to be armed in the chamber. Like, what? This is just insane. Insane. Only a fascist would do that.
I don't know, man. I mean, I agree with you, but I mean, at the same time, if it was me and she was like, I want to come in with guns, I'd be like, yeah, then we'll all come in with guns and all our people will come in with guns. How do you feel about that?
But see, that's just it, man.
I bet
That's
she
just
changed her
not the way
tune.
it's- Yeah, but that's just not the way it's supposed to go. You can't go there. This is the House of Representatives at the Capitol. You know, you just
Yeah, but it's
can't do
America.
that.
I mean, we bomb everybody. We have bigger nukes than you, so we rule this and that. Why not just do it at the Capitol with guns? It's all the same.
It's not good for imaging.
Oh,
It's
man.
an issue. You know, creative and legal say we shouldn't go there.
The homegirl, like, what's her name? I don't know. The gun is her thing. If she didn't have a gun, what would she have? Like, she has some restaurant where everyone has a gun. Like, all these girls wear guns. Like, that's her thing.
Yeah.
Like, she can't
Yeah,
just be
it's
like,
an
oh, I won't have a gun. That's like saying, oh, that's my whole little shtick. That's my personal, that's my personality. I have the gun.
Yeah, that's her prop.
I don't have talent. I don't have this. Yeah, it's my prop. I have the gun. That's my thing. I can't not have the gun. Come on. So I don't know. Why
Again.
don't she just go get a dummy gun and go show it to him and say, look, I'm going to carry this in. It's a prop gun from movies. It doesn't even shoot. It's rubber. It just looks real as hell. And that's what I'm going to come in with, so all the people will think I'm a cowgirl or whatever they want, hoo-ha. And then y'all don't have to worry. I'll walk right through the metal detectors because it's a rubber movie gun. Those things look real, though. I worked on sets with some of those rubber guns. They look really, 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 really real.
Again,
just
though,
do
what
that.
you're describing is just like professional wrestling.
But that's what politics is here. It's a joke. It's a joke. Our votes don't even matter. Like when they say the election is rigged, yes, it's always been rigged, but not in the way they think it is. It's rigged because everybody's vote doesn't count equally, and we have an electoral college. That's rigged. One person, one vote. That's not rigged. Everyone's vote matters equally. That's not rigged. Everyone has a chance to vote. That's not rigged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been rigging going on before I was born. This
There's
is a
been
corrupt
rigging that's been
nation.
going on since Reconstruction.
There you go. So it's like, yeah. You don't need to find a conspiracy theory. It's right there in the open. Electoral college. Not everyone has an option to vote, and not everybody's vote is equal. Right there, you have a rigged election. You only have two parties, and they're pretty much the same. You're voting on rhetoric and ultra religion or kind of religious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really stupid. Oh, man. I don't know. Is it time to
The
wrap it up?
Democrats.
Go Democrats.
Could be worse. Fuck.
That's what it was. Democrats could be worse.
Brutal.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I guess I'll listen back to this and see how this is sounding and kind of make adjustments. And eventually I'll just tape off some levels. And as long as everybody's kind of, me and the mic are in the same kind of distance, everything should be cool from now on. Yay, Glenn. And you were able to hear the audio before the show. Nobody knows that yet, but now everybody knows.
Well, okay. Well, we got to test it out. This ain't beta no more. We're going hard. You got to test it out, and we'll do sponsors.
Oh, you're not going to hear the sponsor music because I turned everything off, remember?
Oh, that was
I just
a
made sure
test.
it all worked. Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
I mean, I guess I could try to get that back on for the sponsor. You know what? I had to load up I was playing something out of the MPC. I don't want to load everything up right now.
No.
So yeah, the audience will hear the music, and I don't know. Maybe you will this time, but I doubt it. Here, do you hear it? It's playing now.
Nope.
No? Yeah. See, I'm playing them through Spreaker. I need to put these into the mixing board. So anyway, we're playing the the sponsor music. You want to go first?
Well, no change. Once again,
Blue Dream?
without an issue. Yeah, not a problem as far as I'm concerned. Still with the Blue Dream.
I love Blue Dream so much. I just love it. I know it's a sativa, and I still love it. Oh, Blue Dream. I had some a while back. Now I have Gotti OG, I think. I showed you the cool little packaging.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fire. It's really fire. It's John Gotti OG. It's pretty fire.
Did it come from Philly?
No, it came from LA, right here.
No doubt. Well, never ceases to amaze me just the names that they come up with for these strains, man. Well, it's like last week, Peyton.
Gary Payton, who knew that he was an American basketball player until... See, I think a lot of people didn't know that, and they watched our show. See, we're informative, man.
Well, as long as we don't get some obscure DMCA from Gary Payton.
Yeah. Hey, I just bought it. Sent it to the grower. Oh, man. So, yeah, that's that. Anything else we got to go over? No?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Groovy. So, yeah, I guess we'll probably be back next week. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. It'll be a big secret. And if we are back, Glenn will be able to hear everything. So maybe we'll have audio clips ready, hopefully, for something, just because we can.
Yeah.
I'll be like, Glenn, did you hear about this in the news? You'd be like, no, Tim, I did not. What did they say? And I'll be like, let me play it for you. Yeah, I forgot. We can play it now. You're reading the script I give you. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's going to be awesome. So, yeah. And I'll load the songs, the show music into the board and start running from that, and you'll be able to hear everything. Cool. All right. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, people in the chat. Smoker and Scolder. And we'll be back.